Welcome to Tal Capes. I'm Cody Nestor. He's Todd Heel.
Hello, everybody.
And in honor of the 35th anniversary of Batman 89, today we're taking three distinct Batman films from three distinct eras and we're pitting them against each other. Today it's Batman 89 versus The Dark Knight versus The Batman. Now, Todd, this is not about which film is better. Okay. We're not comparing each film and breaking down each film scene by scene or anything like that. We're taking shared aspects from each film and we're telling you, in our opinion, which film has the superior on-screen portrayal of that aspect that we're talking about.
Okay.
Makes sense?
Makes sense.
Ready to get started, Heel?
Let's do it.
All right. First up, better opening scene. Batman 89's rooftop robbers, The Dark Knight's bank heist, or The Batman's mayor murder?
Okay, I'm giving round one to The Dark Knight bank heist. I think that is just an incredibly well shot, well paced, and well executed opening sequence. I think, that Joker face reveal there, just a chef kiss.
Yeah, this is a really hard one right off the bat. Like, I love the mayor's murder scene from the Batman. I feel like it sets the tone so well for that film. It's creepy. It's got a whole different vibe. It starts the murder mystery. Like, you get a little bit of who the Riddler is. But yeah, I think the Dark Knight bank heist, I think, is just iconic. I think it's just anything to do with Heath Ledger's performance, I think, is going to win a lot of points today in what we're doing. So I'm going to give it to the bank heist from the Dark Knight as well. Better first appearance of Batman, Todd. Let's see. Batman 89's rooftop robbers again, The Dark Knight's car park crusader, or the Batman subway platform beatdown?
This round goes to the subway platform beatdown for me. I love that sequence. I love the, see if I can get this right, Michael Giacchino.
Yeah, Michael Giacchino.
Giacchino, okay, my apologies. I love, that entire soundtrack he did for that movie. I love the music here in this scene. I love how you're just kind of staring off into that darkness and you kind of slowly see Batman emerge into frame. And just that kind of almost unhinged in the way beat down he does on those perps. It's perfect. I love it.
Yeah, like he's just seething with that anger and just taking it out on the first person that'll allow him to do so. Yeah, I think you summed it up perfectly. I think for me, again, I think it's the subway platform beatdown from the Batman. I think that one kind of wins hands down for me as well. Better crime boss, Todd. Batman 89's boss Carl Grissom, played by Jack Palance. The Dark Knight's Salvatore Maroni, played by Eric Roberts. Or the Batman's Carmine Falcone, played by John Turturro.
Maybe a surprise sneak-in pick here for me, but I'm going to go 89. I'm going to go Jack Palance. I loved his turn as boss Carl Grissom. He doesn't hang out long, but while he's there, he's just like a presence. Jack Palance is one of those great old-time Hollywood actors. I just love his mannerisms, his cadence of speaking in this role. I just think it's great.
Yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying. I'm gonna go with John Turturro, just because I think he's got the most to do. Like, I think,
true,
in terms of like being part of the story, I think he gets some more pivotal scenes in the story. Compared to what we'll see before, like with the Carl Grissom, who's just kind of around for a little bit, or Salvatore Maroni, who's just around for a couple scenes too. Like, right. I think Jack Palance would be my number two, but I'm going to give it to John Turturro here.
I could definitely see that flip-flopping.
Better Jim Gordon, Pat Hingle from Batman 89, Gary Oldman from The Dark Knight, or Jeffrey Wright from The Batman?
Even just based solely on his Dark Knight performance, I still give this to Gary Oldman. I just love his portrayal of Gordon throughout his entire Nolan movie appearances, but especially here in The Dark Knight. I think it's one of the better installments that he did. I just love his arc in this movie where they've kind of like him and Harvey and Batman have kind of set this thing in motion, and at the end, Harvey is fallen, and then, Gordon's how they're going to bring everything back, and Batman taking the fall, taking the responsibility. I think Gary Oldman is one of the greatest actors we've had in a long time, and I think he does a lot of justice to Jim Gordon.
Yeah, I'm interested to see if Jeffrey Wright, as he sticks around, if we get our Matt Reeves Batman sequel. I think he's in my second spot, but I'm with you. I think Gary Oldman, as far as visually on screen, I think he's the closest depiction of like comic book Jim Gordon we've got, and I think he has a lot to do throughout, not just the Dark Knight, but if you look at the Dark Knight trilogy as a whole, I think he gets a little bit more to do. So I'm in agreement with you. I'm gonna say Goldman. I'm going to say Oldman there. You can call him Goldman. That's fine.
Goldman.
Better Alfred, Michael Gough from Batman 89, Michael Caine from The Dark Knight, or Andy Serkis from The Batman?
I'm giving this victory to Michael Caine from The Dark Knight. again, even just going on strictly just his one performance here in The Dark Knight, I think it was a powerhouse performance. Not typically what you may look for as your typical like casting for Alfred, but I think he has a lot of great dialogue in all of these Nolan movies. A lot of it here in this movie in particular. I think Michael Caine brought a lot to this role.
Yeah, Michael Goff, he would be my second spot. I think he serves as that good, like, manservant butler role, like,
Right.
with a little bit of, like, interpersonal relationship with Bruce. You don't get a lot of that. Nothing to the degree that you get with Michael Caine between his Alfred and Bruce, the relationship they have. It's very, like, it's very father-son. It's very mentor, in a way, like, kind of thing. So, like, he gets so much, like, to do, like, in terms of, like, great monologues and great lines. And, like, his performance, I think, throughout that trilogy is great. So it goes to Michael Caine for me, too. Better love interest, Todd. Kim Basinger's Vicky Vale from Batman 89, Maggie Gyllenhaal's Rachel Dawes from The Dark Knight, or Zoe Kravitz's Selena Kyle from The Batman.
I think I'm going to give this round to Kim Basinger's Vicky Vale from Batman 89. I think Maggie Gyllenhaal as Rachel Dawes was very impactful in The Dark Knight. Zoe Kravitz was good as her turn as Catwoman, but I think as an overall love interest, I think for me personally, it's just hard to beat Kim Basinger's Vicky Vale in 89.
Yeah, we just recently did our Batman 89 video, and I definitely think her performance was stronger than I remember as far as Kim Basinger's. I'm still going to say Zoe Kravitz because just like Batman, you think Catwoman,
Right.
And I think, again, it's about how much they were given to do, and she was a lot more of a player in the Batman than you've seen other love interests be in some of the other Batman films.
True.
So with that, I'm going to give it to Zoe Kravitz in my opinion. Better secondary Bat vehicle: Batman 89's Bat Wing, The Dark Knight's Bat Pod, or the Batman's Bat Cycle.
This was kind of an easy one for me, but
Yeah.
I'm going to go 89
That's
Batwing.
a clear winner here.
I don't have any problems with the Bat Pod. I really like the Bat Cycle from the Batman, but the 89 Batwing, it's iconic.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you get that great shot where it goes up and like goes to the moon, basically.
bat symbol,
That's the bat symbol. Yeah, this is a clear winner. It's an easy one, but yeah, Bat Cycle from the Batman would be my number 2. But yeah, Batwing takes it easy. Better Batmobile: Batman 89's turbo engine or turbine engine Batmobile, The Dark Knight's Tumbler, or the Batman's armored muscle car.
This one got a little close over the years, but it's still no contest. It's the 89 Batmobile for me. My all-time favorite movie Batmobile, from that first appearance when they walk out and he's like, "Get in the car." And she's like, "Which one?" Oh, obviously this one.
Obviously the black one with the turbine engine, honey.
And that scene where he's driving her back to the Batcave, it's iconic.
Yeah, now this one was tough for me because I think design-wise, I think obviously clear winner is 89. But
Right.
I'm going to give it to the Batman's armored muscle car just because, like, that's the only real Batman film we ever really get a proper chase with the Batmobile.
That's true too, yeah.
And like, I wasn't there for Batman 89. I was not born yet. I was there for the Batman in 2022. And again, when that engine starts up and you hear that whine and it like growls and it's in IMAX, that was like one of the best moments I've ever seen in a movie.
Right.
Like just in that feeling that when we were in that IMAX theater, and just because it really got to be showcased a little bit in an actual chase. The only other Batmobile chase you ever get in a film is like the one from like Batman versus Superman, where he's like
That's true too, yeah.
grapple hooking and flinging cars on top of people.
And that's very brief, yeah.
Yeah, and that sucks. So I'm going to give it to that. I agree that the nicer, the better looking one is the 89, and it does have that iconic taking Vicky back to the Batcave scene that you'd mentioned. But I'm going to give it just for the pure fact of, like, again, it had more to do. That seems to be a lot of my reasoning for my picks. Is
More
it
to
had
do.
more to do.
More to do with the story.
Better Gotham City: Batman 89's Burton City, The Dark Knight Chicago, or the Batman's kind of Euro Gothic look.
I give this victory to the Batman's Euro Gothic look. I think that city just, as overall capturing Gotham City as this bleak, almost hopeless place. The fact that it rained almost the entire time they were filming, or it made us believe it was raining the whole time they were filming the movie in Gotham. It's a perfect encapsulation of what I think the Gotham in the comics has been for years.
Yeah, I agree. It's hands down the Batman's Euro Gothic look. I love Burton's design. I love the Anton Furst designs for like Batman 89. That's definitely a strong. It's 1A and 1B for me. Like, I love that Gothic vibe that you get from Batman 89, but like as far as like really feeling like my idealized version of Gotham City, I think the Batman nailed it for me. Better can't talk, Todd. Better depiction of the world's greatest detective: Batman '89's Solving Smilex, The Dark Knight's Bat Ballistics, or the Batman's Riddles in the Dark.
I'm giving this one to Riddles in the Dark. I think so far as Batman films go, the Batman has been the closest thing we've got to a true detective story for Batman to work his way through, like a mystery, a case to solve, perhaps, per se. You got a little bit of elements here with the Smilex and the Bat Ballistics, but this was like a major part of the Batman movie.
Yeah, I think this is like the clear. I don't really know how you would argue about the depiction. I mean, this is what that film was made for, is to depict him as like detective. And he's not yet the world's greatest detective, but like this is definitely showing that detective aspect of Batman. So yeah, hands down, it's the Riddles in the Dark for me. Better Bat Gadget: Batman '89's arm extension, the Dark Knight's sonar lenses, or the Batman's advanced contact lenses.
Another round for the Batman. I like those advanced contact lenses. I like the concept of it, like you being seeing what the other person's seeing, and you can also communicate them with the earpiece as well. I liked it.
Yeah, definitely the most kind of goofy is the Batman '89 arm extension to stop a guy with knife legs. The Dark Knight sonar lenses, I think that is the weakest part of the Dark Knight film, is the reliance on that technology at the end of the film. It should have just been a fight in that building with the Joker.
Yeah.
I don't like the sonar lenses at all. And the advanced contact lenses I do really like. I do also have kind of a problem. That's my only scene that I have a little bit of a nitpick with in the Batman, is like, because like she puts those advanced contact lenses on and goes in there, and there's a lot of like, mole, did you say mole? Who's the mole? Mole? That's the mole? Like, there's too much exposition and too much like, that's my my nitpicky stuff, but like it's still the advanced contact lenses too. Better Bat Suit: Batman '89's rubber and Nikes, the Dark Knight's hardened Kevlar plates, or the Batman's armor and angst. I'll call it.
I'm telling you, these are getting to be tougher choices, and I thought about this one a while, but I really like the Batman armor and angst from the Batman. The only thing about that suit that I wasn't 100% sold on was the cowl, and particularly the nose piece, and it kind of grew on me as well. I kind of can easily look at that as like what Batman would maybe have for himself, and just I think this was his second year in this movie, so you can definitely see hopefully he's going to maybe improve as we see other films in this series. So, but I like armor and angst.
Yeah, I agree. Like again, the '89 suit is iconic. I think the suits in the Dark Knight trilogy are kind of serviceable. You get the big Batman Begins, like we had the big panther-like neck, you know, like super huge. And like I like the Batman Begins suit, and I like the Dark Knight suit for what it is, but it's never been like, I never thought, oh, that's badass.
Right.
Like I really like the look, the tactical, the armor, everything that you're getting with the Batman. Like I really kind of enjoyed that way more than I thought, because when it first came out, I was a little sus on it. I was like, I don't know. I had a little bit of concerns like you about like the cowl, but like it really did grow on me. And that suit, I think, is like a perfect kind of encapsulation of that movie and that Batman is in his particular point in his career. Better music or score: Batman '89's Danny Elfman score, the Dark Knight's Hans Zimmer score, or the Batman's Michael Giacchino score.
This is really tough because I love all three of these.
Yeah,
I think all three of these bring something different and something unique to the table. But for me, I think there's only one that's kind of reached true iconic status, and that's '89 Batman by Danny Elfman.
Yeah, that is the iconic one. Like they're all so good. Like there's not anyone I dislike at all. Again, maybe I'm biased. Maybe it's recency biased. I mean, we did just go back and watch '89, but like I just love that Giacchino score.
It is awesome.
Like I love the score, and like not only the actual score itself, but like the inclusion of like Something in the Way. I think it just fits that film so well. Like So for me, I'm the Batman simp all day. Like that's my favorite Batman movie. Spoiler alert.
Right.
But yes, I'm gonna simp for it a little bit more. Like I agree with you. The '89 is more iconic. If anybody picked one of these, I couldn't argue against it at all. I can't say you're wrong at all for picking '89 because it is the iconic one. That march is still fantastic, and
Oh, yeah.
the Hans Zimmer stuff is still great, and
Oh,
it's
yeah,
still
too, yeah.
still damn near perfect. Everyone is like a perfect example of that era of Batman films. That's why,
Exactly.
again, these three films all feel like their own era. The Burton era, the Nolan era, and the Reeves era.
Yeah.
Better pre-ending villain interaction, Todd. Batman '89's Let's Get Nuts scene, the Dark Knight's interrogation scene, or the Batman's bomb collar at the funeral scene.
For me, this one wasn't really close. I give it to the interrogation scene from The Dark Knight. I mean, it's possibly one of the best Batman-Joker interaction moments ever caught on film, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Yeah, that was when I left the theater. That's the first time we ever saw it. That's the scene I wanted to watch over and over again. Just him beating the Joker to the pulp, but it doesn't matter. It's not a damn thing you can do about it. You can beat the shit out of me, but it doesn't matter. Like, I'm not going to tell you anything. I'm not going to give you anything. Like, I'm just an agent of chaos. And like, I love the bomb collar scene. I love the riddles and everything. And the Let's Get Nuts. It's a little cringy. But yeah, it's hands down the interrogation scene. Better final confrontation: Batman '89's Cathedral Climb, The Dark Knight's Fall of Harvey Dent, or the Batman's Gotham Square Garden attack.
Maybe a bit of surprise here, but I'm going to go with the
Cthulhu.
I'm going with the Cathedral Climb. I love that entire sequence from the Batwing crashing at the steps to Vicky escorting Joker up through the tower, the squirting of the bell, it falling down. I really like Batman fighting with the foes kind of in the foreground while Joker dances with Vicky in the background. It's a great sequence. I love it.
Yeah, this one was really difficult because like they're so distinct. Like Batman '89, it's Batman versus the main villain, and that film only had one villain.
Yeah.
And then you have the Fall of Harvey Dent is not so much about Batman versus the main villain. It's like
The consequences.
it's the
of actions.
consequences of the actions of the main villain have changed this man that was Gotham's White Knight into something he was never meant to be. And so that's its own distinct thing. And then you have the the Gotham Square Garden attack. It's Batman versus the city almost, because it's some goons, of course, but it's not Batman punching up the bad guy at the end. It's about rescuing people, being a sign of hope. You took down the Riddler goons that were kind of like, radicalized, but like they're all so distinct. Like I had such a hard time with this one, but like, man, I don't want to keep just simping for the Batman, but like I love it, but I also love that Cathedral Climb. I'm gonna say just for just every aspect considered, I still like that Cathedral Climb too. Okay. So I'm gonna go with you there on the Cathedral Climb. Better ending message or monologue: Batman's '89's Gotham City has earned a rest from crime, as read by Harvey Dent. The Dark Knight's The Hero We Needed speech from Jim Gordon, or the Batman's I Have to Become More monologue from Batman.
For me, this is another one where it was almost a no contest. It's Jim Gordon's dialogue or his speech from The Dark Knight's ending, possibly the most iconic closing dialogue of any Batman film.
Yeah, again, I think I love them all equally. Like I love, the whole Gotham City has earned a rest from crime. If crime should ever cast a shadow on the heart of the city, give me a call kind of thing. And the hero we deserve versus the hero we needed. And then I love the ending message too of the Batman's. Like, it's like, I thought, it's basically, I thought becoming vengeance would be, the thing that solved the problems. But like, I have to be more than that. I have to be like a symbol of hope and a messenger of hope for this city. But like, yeah, I can't argue against you, man. I think it's the hero we needed speech. It's just it's like one of those like goosebumps. Like, I think the others are great, but like I think it's one of those like goosebumpy, like, leaving the theater, hearing that the first time in 2008, you're just like, man, I want to get back into this universe as quickly as possible. Better main villain: Jack Nicholson's Joker from Batman '89, Heath Ledger's Joker from The Dark Knight, Paul Dano's Riddler from The Batman.
Honestly, this is one of those where it maybe got a little closer recently, but I think still it's Heath Ledger's Joker. It's just one of the most iconic portrayals of any comic book villain ever. It's like one of those mesmerizing performances that you just can't take your eyes off of it. It's just amazing.
Yeah, it is. I mean, we talked about it in our Batman '89 video. Like, Jack Nicholson played the Joker. Heath Ledger kind of became the Joker on screen, you know. And it's, you know, obviously the tragedy of what happened. I think that also lends to that role being so iconic, is that was really the last role. That was Heath's, you know, it was what defines his career from the rest of time, as long as he's within the memory of all of us, is that performance defines his career. And it's hands down the single best villain performance ever, like in a comic book film, and arguably one of the top villain performances of any film.
Yeah.
And I mean, he won a posthumous Oscar. True. Like, that lends weight to it. Like, it's, again, I think it is a little, I love Paul Dano's Riddler in the Batman, don't get me wrong. It is a little closer than I think maybe some, in my opinion, that some would have it, because I love that performance as well. But
that's the one that closed the gap for me.
Yeah, like, but it's still Heath. Yeah. It's still Heath for sure. Better Bruce Wayne, Michael Keaton in Batman '89, Christian Bale in The Dark Knight, or Robert Pattinson in The Batman?
Okay, bear me out here for a minute, because this is going to hinge on a lot of how you feel what Bruce Wayne is.
Yeah.
Do you see Bruce Wayne as the way I see him? I see when Bruce Wayne's parents died, when they were killed, he basically became Batman. Mm-hmm. In name and form and function, he was still Bruce Wayne, but that he was Batman. Mm. He went on this training. He went on to do everything he could to train his body, his mind, to become this force to fight crime in Gotham City. Right. Bruce Wayne is his mask. Right. It's what he portrays to the people in the city, friends, you know, whatever function he has to go to try to draw attention away from the fact he's dressing up at night and beating the shit out of criminals. If that's how you're looking at Bruce Wayne, then and that's the way I look at it, I give it to Christian Bale. I think his Bruce Wayne is more along those lines of his Batman is who he truly is. His Bruce Wayne is just his face, where he absconds with those chicks and takes that boat just to do that whole thing over in Japan. Right. Yeah. I see Robert Pattinson's Bruce Wayne as he's still very much his Batman. He hasn't learned that he needs to, or he hasn't figured out yet that he has to have this public persona to kind of draw attention away from what he is. He's just his Bruce and his Batman are still kind of close together for me. Mm-hmm. And I think Keaton is kind of there, but that's why, long story short, I'm sorry. No, I give this one to Christian Bale. Like I say, it just hinges on what you think Bruce Wayne is. And I think Bruce Wayne is more of his fake persona, and Batman is more who he truly, really is.
Yeah, I agree with that, like, summation. Like, I think Michael Keaton in Batman '89 is like socially awkward playboy.
Yeah.
He's like he doesn't know, in his interpersonal relationships with Vicky, he doesn't really know how to communicate. He doesn't really know how to talk about his feelings. He's not used to, like, dining with someone, you know what I mean? And he still has a little playboy-ish. You see him smooze a little bit, like in the Burton films. Christian Bale is that he's the playboy persona.
Right.
He's putting on, I'm going to be flashy. I'm going to be like, I'm above it all. I'm going to act like, you know, I'm going to be a jerk to people.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. I'm going to be completely opposite of my real personality. I'm going to act like I don't give a shit. I'm going to look like I'm banging supermodels and swimming in places I shouldn't be swimming and all those kind of things. And really, really playing it up to really throw people off. And then you got Robert Pattinson, I think, is just like filled with this, like, it's like angst, and it's like just this not knowing what to do with like what you have going on internally.
Yeah.
And so he's also kind of socially awkward. He's like more withdrawn from society. Yeah. He's shown as being like the Howard Hughes type.
Yeah.
So you got really three distinct performances. Again, it's really what flavor do you like the best? Do you like your Batman socially awkward playboy? Do you like him like really a playboy, or do you like him like recluse and withdrawn?
Yeah.
It's tough, Todd. It's tough.
It is.
It's really
you can't
tough.
go wrong with either one of these three.
Yeah, in the context, just because I like a Batman that we're not seeing. Like, I like the year 2 aspect of Batman, that he's not quite figured it out yet. I feel like as we go forward, I feel like there's room for expansion there. Yeah. I think I'm gonna give it to like Howard Hughes Batman.
Okay.
Like, he just doesn't have the fingernails. He's not pissing in jars yet.
Right.
But I'm gonna give it to the withdrawn from society, like Robert Pattinson, just because I don't know. Again, I'm a simp for the Batman.
I mean, this is one of those where there's no wrong choice. There is no one.
I don't think there's a wrong choice for any of these, really. Better Batman: Michael Keaton, Batman '89, Christian Bale, The Dark Knight, Robert Pattinson's from the Batman.
The toughest one's always got to be last, right?
Yeah.
If you thought the Bruce Wayne one was tough, I mean, here you go. You can't go wrong if you pick either one of these three. And, I think probably contrary to popular opinion, as things I've read recently or lately or a little bit while back, I really loved what Robert Pattinson brought to his turn as the Batman. Everything you just mentioned about his Bruce Wayne. This is, a very imperfect Batman. This is a year 2 Batman. He ain't got it all figured out. He's still a work in progress. You can see that this was a suit that he maybe cobbled together himself. He bought a muscle car and maybe turned it into that Batmobile he drove.
Right.
I love what he brought to this role. I love that movie in general. Like you say, are there better Batman films than the Batman? Possibly. Is this my current favorite Batman? It's all subjective.
It really is.
But I really love the Batman, and I really love what Robert Pattinson brought to this role. I know it's kind of an unpopular opinion, I feel like. I think me and you may be in the minority, but I'm happy with being in the minority. And the only thing that fucking sucks is they keep pushing back the sequel. It keeps getting pushed back. It keeps getting pushed back.
The first one got pushed back because of COVID, yeah. And then this one's going to keep getting pushed back too.
But I mean, this is tough. I mean, the Keaton, 89 Keaton, my God, it's iconic what Christian Bale did in all 3 of his movies, especially with The Dark Knight. The Dark Knight is one of the best movies, comic book or otherwise, ever made. So,
right.
But it's Robert Pattinson for me.
Yeah. Again, it's just how do you flavor your Batman? How do you like it? Like, I think Keaton, I compared him in our Batman '89 video. I compared him to Sean Connery. Yeah. He was the first, and I think people still consider him the best, and I think that's a valid opinion. Mm-hmm. I think he's not my top, but he's probably number 2. I think Christian Bale. He is his performance as Batman sometimes can be the more polarizing because of the voice.
Yeah, the voice.
People have, obviously it's been parodied and spoofed.
Yeah, to death at this point, yeah.
Yeah, so I feel like he did his own thing, and it works a lot of the time, and then sometimes it's a little, that's a little weird, kind of thing. I don't know. I feel like at some point it kind of overstayed its welcome with the voice a little bit. And I feel like Robert Pattinson kind of got the luxury of those that have come before and kind of picked what worked and what didn't, and kind of he went with the more Keaton. They didn't do the voice, modulation like Justice League with Ben Affleck. He went with the lower my register Michael Keaton type of voice, which I think works perfectly. Performance-wise, everything considered, and again, just because I love the film so much and I love what Pattinson brought to it, it was another one of those, just like Heath Ledger or Ben Affleck, everybody's like, what the fuck?
Right.
Fucking Twilight boy, fucking glittery, twink-looking, guy. That's what everybody said. The gay vampire boy.
Twilight.
Yeah, all of that shit. Yeah. And then, it was one of those things, that's why at this point, anytime anybody's casting one of these films anymore, I'm never well, fuck that, because I'm everybody was wrong about Heath Ledger, because everybody was the fucking gay guy from Brokeback Mountain, and then it's the fucking gay guy from Twilight.
They were wrong about Michael Keaton.
They were wrong about Michael Keaton. Everybody hated that. 50,000 letters sent to Warner Brothers saying, we hate this. This guy's a comedy actor. He's scrawny. Why is he Batman? And it's he's Batman. He's our Batman.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think everybody brings it. There's no wrong answer here, but for me, it's Pattinson. I think I don't think the movie, even though it was received so well and it made money, I think people were still they were so hesitant to try to even even be blasphemous and say this is anywhere near The Dark Knight. And I think in a lot of the ways it's as good, if not some ways better than The Dark Knight.
It pushes it. It definitely does.
The Dark Knight is like kind of grandfathered in. And I think, like you said, I think The Dark Knight works. I think they both work as films, but I think The Dark Knight in pop culture has become a film that is recognized as a great film by everyone's comic book
or otherwise.
Where I think the Batman is maybe the best, to me, the best Batman film, but did it get the icon establishment? Like, did it get the place in pop culture that The Dark Knight has? No. And, we can argue whether it deserves it or not, but for me, long story short, again here, Todd, I'm going with Pattinson. Yeah. We're in the minority. We're in the unpopular opinion. I like the little sparkly boy from Twilight as Batman.
And definitely, if that's something that if you're watching this and you haven't watched the Batman for some odd reason, go watch it, dude.
Yeah,
seriously,
make up your own mind about it. But like I'm telling you, we saw it. I saw it like 3 times at least.
I know I went with you at least a couple of times.
It's again, I think it's so slept on, even though. Like I started to see more. Like I was just kind of doing research for this, like things we could include, and I would look at the ending scene of the Batman, and there was a lot of people kind of with this, a few people in the comments with the same opinion of like this is kind of so slept on. Like Pattinson did a great job, and he did, but there's no wrong answer to any of these, Todd. It's just about how you prefer your Batman.
That's it.
How you like your Batman, how you like your Bruce Wayne, how you like your Jim Gordon, all that kind. Hubba, hubba, hubba. Who can you trust, Todd?
Money.
Exactly.
I'm giving away free money. And where
is Batman?
The Batman.
He's at home washing his tights, Todd. All right, I think we'll call it a wrap for this episode, Todd. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. If you'd like to get in touch with us, feel free to send us an email and get in touch with us on social media. All the information is at the bottom of the screen. Towel Capes will return. We want to thank you so much for watching. Until next time, bye, guys.
Take care, guys.